When you say that you are whole in Christ or whole in God, it only means that you've accepted that you are in the middle of a perfecting. Wholeness leads to a perfecting is because only secure people, only whole people, secured people will allow themselves to be subjected to a process of being perfected.
God has already decided your value. If you really date your maker and find out who God says you to be, your value has been decided.
If you're gonna be getting into a relationship, you gotta practice representing your woman. You need to take on a mindset that being in a relationship is beyond you. Life the Crossroads.
What's up? What's up? I'm Carps!
I'm Chynna.
Mga kakosa!
Mga kabanda.
Mga katukayo!
Mga kabarangay.
Welcome sa ikatlong yugto ng ating How to Be Single! Ayan. So ngayon, magkakaroon tayo ng guest speakers.
Oh, never pa sila.
Never nyo pa sila
Never
nakita?
pa natin nakita. Ever.
So,
Bagong-bago.
nag-book kami ng flight
To Kyoto.
to Kyoto Street.
Ang lolo.
Papunta here para marinig natin
Yes.
kasi kailangan natin ng wisdom. Kasi kami po yung kinuha nila because we are
PhD.
professionals.
Professionals na kami dito sa topic na to. At
Yeah,
sana
so-
naman next year hindi na kami yung
Yeah,
host
invited.
dito.
This will be our first and last
Oh.
Jesus, please.
In the name of Jesus,
In the-
chains be broken. In the
Lives be healed sa mga relationship namin. Ayan. So, we are the experts. So, kung may mga tanong kayo, comment it down below, magre-reply kami.
Sabay-sabay tayong umiyak.
Yeah, Nakagawa na kami ng Bible plan din ng how to be single. Yeah. First verse namin, none but Jesus.
Sorry, sabi kasi nila chill lang eh.
Okay.
Just be you.
Yeah, just be
This
you.
is us.
So, whatever happens, this time, kasalanan po nila. Decision nila to.
Choice nila to. So, anyway, magsimula na tayo.
Yes.
So, we would like to invite tuloy. We would like to introduce our first time guest,
Yes.
Pastor Mon
And Lady Armas! Palapalan! Yeah! First time guest.
Ay, tama.
Yeah.
Akala ko hindi kayo nag-prepare, guys. Pero parang grabe naman, production yung script.
Wala naman.
ganun talaga
It comes
kami.
out naturally.
Gusto ko lang din namin wala tayo sa Kyoto.
Wala pa kami budget papunta doon.
Sa Don Manolo.
Sa doon na po kami. Ayan, so first question po, since, magka-apelido kayo, so magkapatid po ba kayo? So, matagal na po silang mag-asawa. Gano'n na po kayo katagal mag-asawa?
Sige, kaya mo yan.
Oh, no! Dito pa tayo magkaka...
Almost 13, yan. Almost 13. Almost 13 years.
Oh, pero wait lang, Carps. Bago tayo magsimula, sabihin mo muna natin, welcome to
Life the Crossroads!
Bago na tayo maglokal.
Yan. Kaya nawala ako kasi parang ang layo na nang narating natin. From Kyoto to Osaka na tayo, hindi pa tayo nag-introduce. Okay,
Ayan.
balik sa inyo. Ayan.
So, guys, share nyo to ha. Binabantaan ko buhay nyo. Hawak ko pamilya nyo. No, this episode will surely help you guys, lalo na sa mga matatagal ng single dyan. Kagaya namin.
Yes,
Ay, siya
yes. Oo.
Masakit.
Sa totoo lang, counseling session
Opo.
talaga. Hindi, joke lang.
We're here for you guys.
Buti nakarating kayo, para sa amin lang talaga to. In-involve namin kayo kasi we're gracious. Okay!
Sige, Carp, simulan natin. So we have some questions.
Yes.
And yeah, I think you can go first.
So, nire-representa namin ang kabuuan ng mga single na nanonood ngayon. Kami yung epitome nyo. Look what the Lord has done. Okay, for our first question, alam ko lahat kayo makaka-relate dito. Pastor Atelay, how do you maximize being single? How can we look forward? What can we... Sorry, mali. Cut na lang, guys.
Ulitin natin.
Ulitin natin.
Yan.
How do you maximize being single? And what do we look forward to in being single? Ayan.
Yeah. Just to add sa question na yan, like, most of the time kasi, like, people would think that being single is like a waiting zone. Parang I'm just here in this valley waiting until I get a boyfriend or until I get married. And I think maybe in that perspective, there's already something wrong or something lacking. Maybe you can expound on that. Yeah.
Paki-share naman kasi kayo yung experts dito.
Host tayo ngayon.
Host kami
host,
ngayon.
host, okay,
Host kami
okay,
ngayon.
okay.
Abangan nyo na lang yung libro namin. May mga sagot kami dito.
Lalabas.
Lalabas soon.
Yung reading plan.
Yung reading plan namin.
All right. Sige. So your question is, how do we maximize being single? So sa lahat ng mga single dyan, how do we maximize being single? Because it's in the context of what Chynna is saying, na marami, akala nila kasi, when you're single, you're just there to wait and naghihintay ka na lang talaga until you are found by the right one, or maybe kung ikaw yung lalaki, you've been waiting for the right one also.
Sino?
Okay.
Di ako
Would you like to
makarelate?
start? Or, okay. Well, I guess for me, siguro the first would be medyo binigyan ni Chynna ng konting leverage on the question eh. Right? So for me, I guess it's all about the mindset as well. All right? And for me, you know, looking back, kasi ito namang discussion natin kahit minsan puro katatawanan and kalokohan, may sense naman, di ba? Let's make it worthwhile. Okay, and we have a standard where we should look. And, you know, this just came to me while we were talking that, you know, when God created us, hindi naman dalawa agad yung nasa womb, di ba? I mean, you were created by God in the womb of your mother unless you have a twin or a triplet or a quadruplet. And when God does something, He prepares that person, or he puts things that He saw or He sees in that person beginning in the womb pa lang. So there's so many things, like there's giftings, there's skill sets, there's personality, there's likes, there's hobbies. All of those things have been put in you when you were a baby. And for me, you know, having thought about that, so hindi ibig sabihin na just because you're single, you need to wait for something or someone to come into your life for your life to truly explode and make a difference. You know, being single at this time, like sabi nga ni Pastor Mo nung first episode it's not a curse. It's not a burden. It shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Nakahinga. Okay? It shouldn't be. But it's a period where, for me, you can begin to really discover who God has made you to be. And there's so many things. And maybe I'll go another direction because a lot of those things we discussed in the first 2 episodes. Like, you can do a self-inventory. You can, you know, Carps, di ba? Parang siguro ikaw, magaling ka kumanta. Di ba? Magaling ka mag-host. Di ba? You're so funny. And maraming babae, pwede mong mapatawa. Masaya ka kasama. Di ba? So, yan. So, makikita nyo na lang yung QR code dyan sa mga contact details si Carps.
Yeah. At saka ano po, wala pa po akong binabayarang deals, so may pera tayo.
Exactly. Maraming pera si Carps. Yan, okay? Sa IT yan, di ba? Okay. So anyway, right, those things. And for me, I guess another direction, aside from doing a self-inventory, is that I thought about what you can do at present so that you can truly become excellent as a person. Yeah. And for me, parang, sometimes we forget about that. You know, in the word, it says there that your gift will make room for you.
That's right.
Right? And so many times, people just pass by life just doing certain things because they felt like, ito yung gusto kong gawin. There's a desire. And then lipat naman, ito yung gusto kong gawin, may desire. Ito yung gusto kong gawin, may desire. But not really focusing on, is that desire fueled by a passion? And does that passion have a purpose which keeps that in a boundary? Those are heavy things, right, to discuss. But if you realize what those are, you would take the time to invest in yourself. So, number 1, unang-una investment, finances, di ba? I mean, pag nagkaroon ka na ng relationship, magastos yan, di ba? Magkano ba yung nagastos mo nung first month natin?
Oh, no.
25,000.
25,000, and that was so many years ago. Because he kept on asking me, where do you want to eat? He picks me up every single day. And right? So, that's one, right? And so, as a single person, ask yourself, magkano na ba laman ng bank account mo? Diba? I mean, have you ever thought about that? Especially the men, right? You are looking at someone, crush mo on a girl, but have you thought about your bank account? Kasi mahal eh. Diba? You want to get to know a person. Maganda, magbigay ka ng, magpakita ka na kaya mong gastusan yung taong yon. Because where you put your money, di ba? That's where your heart is. Kung di ka naman naglalagay doon, puro salita ka lang. I don't think I can vouch for that, di ba? I mean, there has to be something. So, investment. And because pag dalawa na kayo, most definitely, mas magiging mahal na yung gastos nyo also in the future. So, those are some of the things that you have to think about. And that's just money, di ba? I mean, find the joy in that. You don't have to wait for one person to say, wow, ready na pala akong mag-plan para makabili ng sarili kong bahay. Diba? I mean, you don't plan for those kinds of things just because you're about to get married. You can do that while you're single, from college, have that mindset. Why? Kasi you have a big God eh. Diba? So you should aspire to have a big dream as well. God doesn't want you na parang just cruising. Make an inventory maybe this time of what you truly want, not just what God has placed in you, and what you have at the moment, and how you can grow these things. So, for me, material things, that's not bad at all. Because pag nakita yan ng potential girl, di ba? I mean, mas madali siya magtitiwala sa'yo. Kasi, di ba? Uy, dumadating siya dito, may kotse siya, or may motor siya, or kaya niya akong ipag-grab, di ba? I mean, magiging madali for a girl to trust that person. Kasi ready siya eh. Kung agay naman, makita naman, halimbawa, the girl has been setting up for herself as well. The guy, magle-level up siya. Diba? So, ikaw naman as a woman, naturally, you will be attracting guys na yung standards niya dapat would be much higher than an average guy because this guy will aspire, ganito pala siya, grabe, yan si Chynna, meron na yan ganito, may kotse, ganito, and everything. So, syempre, as a guy, magdadalawang isip siya, hindi siya basta-basta. Those things are serious stuff, right? I mean, it takes... It's a good thing. So, yeah, for me, I guess, in a simple way, and answering it in a way that it's practical, prepare yourself, invest in yourself, commit yourself to excellence, make sure that you know the gift that God has placed in you, and shine in that gift. Diba? Like I said this, last ko na to, before Pastor Mon enters to talk about, if you want to add to that, is that, education, right, is also good. Because intelligence is not just a gift. Okay? But intelligence is a gift that needs to be cultivated. Lahat tayo may ganyan. Pero how many of the single people here have probably thought about, pwede ba ako mag-extra masteral, studies, or maybe a crash course on this? Kasi after ko mag-graduate, hindi pala yun talaga yung gusto ko, pero I'm good at this. This is a talent that, have you ever invested in that? Lalo na ngayon, madali na, online. So, this brings singleness, or single, into a whole new level, where ngayon, iba na competition sa magiging single. Kasi lahat kayo, you're so focused on becoming the best person that you can be for God.
Good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Actually, I just want to add, kasi a lot of the things that we discussed dun sa previous episodes.
Yeah.
So if you haven't watched that, I encourage you to take a look back dun sa past weeks natin. Pero, for me, it's what's ringing true to my heart is two words, and it's all about establishing value. When we talk about what we can look forward to in being single, it's all about establishing value. Establishing value of what? Well, first and foremost, your value as an individual. And I'm going beyond the spiritual, because that's something that we talked about last week, in the past weeks. But I'm talking about the same way, yung sinabi ni Lay. Now, you have to be able to come to a place na as a single person, you have to know that life is more than just simply fun experiences, although it is part of that. You gotta come to a point that you have to be conscious of establishing value as an individual. How is that translated? Like the way that, if you truly have direction in life, then your steps will be ordered. It will be intentional to the point that one step adds to the value of you as an individual, as a worker, as a gifted artist, or wherever you may be. It's one after another. And why is that important? Kasi, kaya nga sabi ko kanina, babalik ako dun sa sinabi mo di ba? Like yung first time, hindi pala first times, but the first months that we were dating, alam ko kung ano yung pinasok ko Na alam ko, like si Lay,
Laki nga na
hindi malaki hugot. Medyo. Malaki yung hinugot mula sa bulsa.
Literal.
Pero that's actually part of it If you want to pursue somebody, you cannot pursue blindly And so, you know, like, you cannot pursue just simply hoping, sana ibaba niya yung standards niya, para maabot ko siya. You know, like, you cannot pursue blindly. You have to recognize the person for who he or she is. And then, be realistic about, do I have something to add to this? And I'm coming from a perspective of a man. I bring it to that example because, can you imagine, how would I be able to reflect and to show her value to me kung hindi ko naman mailabas in practical ways? Yun yung sinasabi niya kanina na kung sabihin mong mahal mo, pakita mo. You know, if you say na I'm gonna pursue you, I'm gonna show it. And so, I'm not, in your pursuit, you cannot simply ask a woman to change for you. You know, she has to be comfortable enough to be who she is, that I am coming up to a place where she just feels herself around me. So what has that got to do with being single? All of that takes place in a season of being prepared called being single.
Right.
If you just simply expect na, hindi, alam mo, pagdating ng tamang person, magiging tama na rin ako para sa kanya. That, real talk, that will never happen.
Right.
Yeah.
If you just simply, sabi nga ni Chynna kanina, waiting, lying back on your sofa, and pag dumating siya, alam ko, magiging ready na rin ako. No. You being ready for that season starts now. Your best life as a single person starts now. In fact, if I may kick it up a notch, your best life as somebody in a relationship starts from the moment that you prepare as a single person. That's why it is all connected. So for me, it's all about establishing value. How can I establish myself in a greater way? Not because I have somebody to impress. I'm establishing value because I love myself enough that I know God's got something better for me. I'm walking in the purposes of God. That's what I exude. The same thing as a woman. Kung babae ka, and you're all about establishing value, and you know your value and your worth as a woman, you will not come across as needy to a man.
Right.
You will not come across as desperate to a man. Bakit? Kasi alam mo yung nilalakaran mo, and I don't mean this in any way, you know, to judge any person.
Smile ka muna para hindi mo.
Not our intentions. But let's face it, some of life's best truths force us to come face to face with the things that we have to change. Guess what? That's the same with us.
Right.
When I met Lay, I had to come to a place. I had to face my weaknesses, be real about it, and come to a point na I have to make a choice na, magiging insecure ba ako or will I level up my game? Will I level up my thinking? You know, because when I met her, ang dating niya sa akin, she's an overachiever. You know, like she's a born leader. Ganun yung una kong kausap sa kanya, parang, wow, hindi naman ito, grabe. Kaya nga,
Yung nakita mo, hindi yung, wow, ganda.
hindi, kaya nga, darating ako. Mamaya yan, kasama yan sa mga pag-uusapan natin.
I love it. Okay.
Which actually goes into later, one of the things that we'll talk about, talking about, are my standards too high?
Yeah.
I want to talk about that later, pero mamaya na yan.
Okay pa naman kayo? You guys are good?
Medyo marami na kami nalunok.
So, first question. Guys, first question pa lang yan, ha?
Kasi iniisip ko kayo. I'll just add one final thing, and this is just a statement that, you know, while Pastor Mon was speaking, I read this or I heard this somewhere, that success happens when preparation meets opportunity. Right? So that means all this time, being single, that's your preparation time. And that one day will come. Whether that person walking in, oh my gosh, the sun shone and ang pogi nito, gano'n. Or a girl comes by and I'm like, okay, I can't stop thinking about this person. That's your opportunity right there, right? But when you know that you have prepared ahead, madali ka na makaka-approach. Hindi ka na mag-iisip ng, match ba kami? Hindi ko to kaya kasi ganito. Doon tayo nagkakaroon ng urong-sulong cha-cha game, di ba? So, it's better if you, at this point, begin to prepare na pa-uwaw siya. You know, at this point, because when that time comes, boom, usap kayo, wow, success. I'm not saying na kayo agad, but you could have a friend that's also an excellent person because you did your part, di ba? So, yeah, yun lang. Okay ba yun?
Fendi, pakikuha yung wallet ko, tsaka TOR.
Dapat sa first date, ilabas
first day naman niya, oo. So, TOR, ano ba? ITR! Ayan, so first question pa lang you guys. And lobat na ako. So wait lang ha.
Yeah, sige. Habang nag-charge siya, ako na lang muna. But that's good, that's good. Like another thing that we're talking about, di ba, about... Kasi naman, lubat.
Sagiraan po. Saglit lang po.
Sabi kasi nila, i-chill daw. Ayan, sobrang chill.
Chill namin, guys.
Yeah.
Real talk to eh. Real talk.
Baka magalitan tayo.
Yes. Pero like another thing, like another issue na we go through a lot na especially like kami ni Carps, like he's 30, I'm 31, and in this season of our life, every like one of our friends are either engaged, either in a relationship, having kids, getting married. Like I actually have a group na like I'm the only one na who's single, diba? And I'm just thankful now. I know I have a relationship with God and I know who I am. But emotions are still real, and it comes, and loneliness comes, diba? And what can you say about that? How can we deal with loneliness?
Oo nga po. Paano ba yung dinideal? Kasi, di naman sa malungkot ako everyday.
Hindi naman. Every other day?
Ano lang, twice
Twice a week.
Twice a day. Isa sa umaga, isa sa gabi.
Oh my God. Pagising sa umaga, tsaka bago matulog.
Tsaka bago po matulog.
Doon pumapasok eh.
Yeah, sa pagkagising
Doon
ko,
yun eh.
hala, mag-isa lang.
Alam ko na kung bakit. Alam mo kung bakit sa panahon nyo. Kasi pag gabi, matutulog ka na, sabi ng butige.
sabi nga rin ng kuliglig eh. Singa. Ang ingay nila. Ang ingay talaga nila. Gumagano na yung buti. Sabi pa na, singa.
Parang choir.
Choir
Parang
talaga
choir.
sila. Oo, so yeah. Insecticide, guys. Mura lang.
Mukha naman hindi kayo lonely. Sa lahat na nangyayari ngayon. I guess, I can say I totally understand it, but I guess for me, you're permitted, or it's okay for you to feel like emotions, that you're lonely, you know. But at the end of the day, of course, what we tell our young adults is that just don't stay there and don't embrace it as if it's an entitlement or a right, you know, that hindi, okay lang eh, I accept this is what I feel. Because at the end of the day, you are not driven by your emotion. That is not who you are. And if you are not careful and you create a pattern of succumbing to that emotion, because yun nga, malamig sa umaga, maano sa gabi, walang nagbe-message sa akin na kumain ka na, diba? I mean, of course, right? And then you see your friends' IGS, pictures here, ganito, cute babies here and there, right? So I guess for me, yes, accept that because you're a person, you have emotions, but at the end of the day, you still have a choice. And your state or well-being is a choice that you can do for yourself. And so, one of the things that I would say, because it is a choice, is that I want to encourage those who feel this way. Yung siguro matagal na rin talaga naghihintay, maraming tanong na sa sarili nila, di ba? Yung nag-PhD na nga, katulad yung dalawa. Hindi. Gaganda yung pogi eh.
Maliit na
Okay?
bagay, Ate Liz.
Maliit na bagay yan eh. Marami kasing bulag lang talaga, di ba? Yun. Or courage ang kailangan. Okay. Is that do not compare yourself. Because this is not just about relationships eh. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. And every time you look at another, whether you're married, you're a successful business person, you're a great preacher, you're a great dancer, you have children, or you have this portfolio, whenever you look to someone and base your success on somebody else's achievement or success, loneliness will always come in. And your joy will really go out of the window because laging somebody's gonna be better than where you are today. Laging ganun eh, di ba? I mean, but it doesn't mean that you're not where you're supposed to be at that very moment. And it doesn't mean also na wala kang pagkakataon to make your place where you are today better than when you were yesterday or where you were yesterday. You have that choice. So, very simple. And I remember Psalms 23. Para may verse lang kasi baka puro kalokohan na tayo. Okay lang ba? Okay, by the way, this is Crossroads. And this is the Young Adults Ministry of New Life. Diba? Okay.
Nakalimutan ko.
Yan. Psalms 23, right? you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. And imagine, when you're eating at that table, sabi doon, God prepares a table before you. Diba? And this is your Jesus preparing something for you. When He prepares something, hindi si God magbibigay lang ng one takeaway order. God, when He prepares for you, it's always a buffet. You just have to look at what He has prepared for you. And that says sa'yo yun eh. Ibig sabihin, in the middle of what you're feeling, in the middle of circumstances not working out, in the middle of comparisons, your table is there in the middle of all these enemies, spiritual enemies na nag-try to take away your joy and your peace, di ba? Nandun ka sa middle na yun, but the Lord is with you, so hindi ka pala mag-isa. May chef ka na, may butler ka pa, may server ka pa, may taga-comfort ka pa, siya pa nagbayad ng bill mo. He prepares a table before you in the presence of your enemies. So, you don't just feel happy or joyful when things are perfect or when you have the perfect someone. You can feel joy even if things are imperfect, and kung feeling mo matagal ka ng single, you can still, kasi wala naman talagang nawala sa'yo.
And one of the key elements of the success of a relationship, any relationship, is that the two people or any person involved in that relationship must be authentic, genuine, and true to themselves. What we think is best for us is not necessarily what God thinks is best for us.